My wife and I have been married for approximately 16 years. Recently, I discovered that she had been unfaithful to me for the past 4 years. I hired a private investigator to ascertain the truth. I was not surprised to learn that she had been having an affair with my brother throughout that period. However, I had no inkling of this. The most intriguing aspect of this situation is that I had actually planned everything from the beginning. At the outset of our marriage, I incorporated an infidelity clause into our prenuptial agreement. I believe she may have forgotten about it. She always thought she was clever and discreet. However, I have learned about people's true nature from a young age. I have experienced some extremely traumatic events in my past. I was mistreated, neglected, and manipulated. This has made me extremely wary and distrusting of others. I have only shared this information with my friends and family, but even my wife is aware of my reasons for doing so. Indeed, I have always been cautious about people's intentions. This situation merely served to confirm my suspicions. When I presented my wife with divorce papers, she began to weep and attempted to persuade me not to proceed with the divorce. She promised to divulge any information she had about her affair. I was curious about this, but it was of no consequence to me. My sole desire was to extricate myself from this situation and to remove my brother from the equation. This has been my approach throughout my life. If someone hurts me, I simply remove myself from the situation. I have done this with my own parents on previous occasions. I am unsure why she assumed that she would be any different. I have had a stoic attitude for as long as I can remember. Our relationship was active. I demonstrated affection. I am a successful startup multi. The individual in question is a millionaire and we regularly engage in physical exercise. I am uncertain as to why she was unable to communicate with me. I even inquired as to her interest in an open relationship or polyamory 3 years ago and she explicitly declined. Consequently, I am unsure as to whether her behavior is driven by selfishness or other factors. In light of these circumstances, I have formulated the following questions. 1. Why did she decline my suggestion of an open relationship? 2. Why do individuals who are unfaithful display distress and aggression when confronted? 3. Is this what they desired? 4. What are the expectations of those who engage in infidelity? It would be interesting to know whether, when caught, they expect forgiveness. Based on what I have seen on the subreddit, it seems unlikely that cheaters change. Therefore, forgiveness is unlikely. It is curious that she attempted to gaslight me when I confronted her. I was not concerned whether she denied it. I had already made up my mind and simply wanted her to sign the papers. I had proof. I am planning to sue my brother for alienation of affection. However, I am perplexed as to why she is defending him. After all, he has a wife and children. This evening, I intend to expose him as the perpetrator of a petty act of revenge. This will result in a double punishment for me. It is unfair for me to suffer alone. I will add a few more questions later. I have to attend a meeting. I feel indifferent about this situation. She is angry with me for feeling this way. She is claiming that I never loved her. I did love her until I discovered the truth. I am perplexed by the attitudes of people in the present era. They expect me to be angry, but I have moved beyond that emotion. I am seeking to remove this individual from my life. I believe in the value of seeking revenge and then moving on as a means of healing. I ask that you do not judge me for this course of action. I went out for drinks with a couple of friends in order to drown my sorrows. I opened up to them about the actions of my wife. I was surprised to find that they were not shocked by what I had to say. They had always spoken badly about her, but I had always defended her because she was my wife and I loved her. It transpired that I had been wearing rose. My perspective was clouded by bias and I failed to recognize the red flags when I returned home. I was somewhat inebriated and finally articulated my true feelings. I informed her that she had humiliated me in front of my loved ones, that she was merely exploiting me financially, and that she was a gold digger. I was eager to end our relationship and was taken aback by her response. She advised me not to sue my brother. In the wake of this double betrayal and heartbreak, she was unable to offer an apology or provide an explanation. I had even proposed an open relationship to her previously, given my frequent absences due to business commitments. Despite my efforts to provide for my family, she did not demonstrate gratitude. However, the situation took an even more troubling turn when I confronted my brother about the incident. Our disagreement escalated into a physical altercation, resulting in my brother's injury. I exposed his infidelity in front of his wife, children, and our parents. His son, aged 17, reacted strongly and nearly engaged in a physical confrontation with his own father. My soon-to-be ex-wife was distressed, and I was left in a state of shock. The individual in question is to be regarded as my former partner. My wife was in a state of distress, and our parents maintained a stoic silence throughout the ordeal. Once the situation had subsided, my brother revealed that our parents had been aware of the affair from the outset. They then attempted to justify their silence by claiming that it was a private matter. I am currently experiencing a sense of despair and despondency. My brother proceeded to taunt me further. I informed him that I was aware of his sexual relationship with my wife and that they had engaged in a range of unseemly activities in my bed. I made it clear that I intend to pursue legal action against both him and my wife, although I am uncertain as to the outcome. When I speak with my parents, I make it evident that I believe they have acted inappropriately and that I have no desire to interact with them further. I have no desire to interact with any of them again. In the past, they consistently sided with the individual who wronged me. They were unwavering in their support of him. They also aligned with my brother's perspective. Now, I am at my limit. They have succeeded in convincing those who believed I deserved to be deceived due to my trust issues. This is precisely why I will never trust anyone again. Despite my best efforts, including seeking therapy and reading books, I have not made any progress. I have reached a point where I am willing to consider ending my life rather than continuing to interact with individuals who exhibit such behavior. I have worked hard to provide for my family and have even paid for my brother's college education, despite our financial constraints. This is the gratitude I receive in return for spending over $6 million on purchasing EB-5 visas for them. I am aware that this is not a therapy group and I apologize for all the swearing and anger. I had assumed that I was not angry, but when everything came to light, I was simply disgusted. Music, I would like to tell you a story from my past. I would like to recount the story of a girl I dated in my late teens and early 20s. We were together for approximately a year and a half, although the duration of our relationship is unclear. She was employed at a clothing store in the mall, and on one Friday afternoon, I dropped her off at work. However, there is a peculiar aspect to this story. As she entered the store, she promptly returned. She was visibly distressed and stated that she wished to see me again and say goodbye. I found this rather peculiar, given the circumstances, but she had to return to work, so we did not have the opportunity to discuss the matter further. She mentioned that she was going on a trip with a friend, possibly to Disney, over the weekend, so I simply told her I was instructed to contact her upon her arrival. This was in 1997, a period preceding the widespread use of mobile phones. I attempted to page her that night, but she did not respond. I was unable to reach her by other means, so I assumed she was at a park or another location lacking a public telephone. Fast forward to Saturday morning at approximately 10 or 11 a.m. I was seated at my parents' residence when the telephone rang. It was my mother's closest friend, requesting a conversation. This struck me as somewhat unusual. She then inquired as to whether my girlfriend drove a red Nissan Sentra with specific stickers on the rear. I confirmed this information and then she proceeded to divulge a significant piece of information. I am uncertain as to the circumstances, but I observed her arriving at my neighbor's residence the previous day. She subsequently departed with an unidentified male companion. Their interaction appeared to be amicable. At that moment, I experienced a sense of disquiet as a series of events began to coalesce in my mind. I requested further details regarding her neighbor and was informed that her neighbor's son was her former partner. Her boyfriend of 5 years had joined the Navy. It is a small world, and the likelihood of her ending up next to my mother's best friend was minimal. I repeatedly called her, even using an emergency page, but received no response. Saturday night was a sleepless one for me. Finally, on Sunday at 2 p.m., she called. I asked what the emergency was and feigned ignorance, inquiring about her trip to Disney. She began to speak. Despite her initial denials, she eventually confessed to the affair and expressed remorse. While the specifics of the incident remain hazy in my memory, it was evidently the final straw in our relationship. I had assumed she was the love of my life, sharing numerous similarities and a close bond. However, her infidelity came as a shock, particularly given her apparent fidelity to her previous partner. My girlfriend was unfaithful to me with her boyfriend while he was serving in the Navy. I was unaware of this throughout our entire year and a half together. She had been writing to him all along. When he returned, they basically got back together. 6 months later, she came crawling back, and we continued our on-again, off-again relationship. The relationship was renewed for a further 5 years, during which time it was broken and then re-established. It is my understanding that she did not engage in further infidelity, although it is possible that this was not the case. The final year of the relationship was marked by a lack of intimacy. I acknowledge that I was susceptible to the idea of how things were in the first year, and that I was holding on to it. She resembled Kate Winslet, particularly during the period when Titanic was a popular film. We were frequently approached by people requesting an autograph, and I would estimate that there were many occasions when she and I were mistaken for one another. Such occurrences occurred at least several times a week, and even more frequently when we were out socializing in the downtown area. The second instance of infidelity I experienced was with another woman I had been dating for approximately a year. I was unaware that she had also been unfaithful to her own partner to be with me. During that period, we were actually cohabiting. I had experienced a period of unemployment, and, to be candid, I had become somewhat despondent. Nevertheless, I treated her with great deference and respect. However, I also engaged in some rather foolish behavior. Eventually, I began to sense that something was amiss, so I installed a keylogger on the computer and obtained her email password, subsequently reading her emails. These revealed messages to her best friend indicating that she was attracted to another individual at work but felt constrained by her boyfriend. It was distressing to observe the individual I loved discussing how I was impeding her from cheating on me. It transpired that she had only engaged in kissing with the individual in question, nothing more. I immediately terminated the relationship. The unfortunate consequence of this was that we were required to continue residing together for a further 3 or 4 months. This was a challenging period. In summary, I have learned that if a woman cheats on her partner to be with another, she is likely to cheat on him or her too. I have learned that the adage is indeed true: if a woman cheats on her partner to be with another, she is likely to cheat on that partner as well. I must admit that I was previously unaware that either of my former partners had been unfaithful to me. I have now been married for 9 years, have 2 wonderful children, and am in a relationship with a woman who is as she is, in every way, 100 times better. It is my hope that she did not cheat on someone to be with me. The third story is about a 25-year-old woman and her 29-year-old fiancé, Asher. They have been together for almost 7 years and got engaged about 6 months ago. They have spent her entire adult life together. While he is not without flaws, he has consistently demonstrated love and respect for me, treating me with not just respect but also deep admiration and affection. Our relationship has garnered attention and praise from those around us, particularly in instances where our bond has been particularly evident. Despite facing challenges and difficulties in our relationship, including my mental health struggles, Asher has consistently demonstrated unwavering devotion and commitment. He was instrumental in supporting me through 2 years of therapy, helping to rebuild our relationship and overcome significant obstacles, including periods of grief and loss. He has consistently demonstrated support, even in moments when I felt helpless. Yesterday, I received a message from a woman named Jay. She claimed to have met Asher on Tinder and gone on 4 dates with him over the past 2 weeks. Initially, I considered ignoring the message because I was so confident that it was not true. Asher is not the type of person I would ever expect to cheat. He has experienced infidelity firsthand and values emotional intimacy. He has reassured me on numerous occasions that he is gratified by the closeness we have shared. Despite this, he did, on one occasion, mislead me about a specific act, claiming it was solely between us. However, I subsequently discovered that he had engaged in the same act with another woman. He asserted that he believed I was already aware, but I assumed it was a past occurrence and that he was exclusively mine. He has never given me any indication that he would consider another woman. Additionally, he does not have a significant number of female friends, as he prioritizes my feelings and respects my boundaries. I have no reason to doubt his sincerity and am unconcerned about the gender of his friends. Jay's messages included texts from a contact saved under the nickname Asha that he used as a child. She stated that he informed her of his intention to pursue casual intimacy and demonstrated to me memes he had sent her, including one with a distinctive typo that her phone sometimes makes and a photograph of them together at a restaurant, sharing a dessert. She asserted that the image was taken by a waiter. Additionally, she provided me with a voicemail message from Asha, in which he stated that he had deleted the application in question, though he did not specify which one it was. It is probable that it was Tinder. Subsequently, I contacted Jay via telephone and she informed me that despite the lack of physical contact, they had been on 4 dates. I then contacted Asha directly to inquire whether he was dating other women. I was initially incredulous and therefore did not consider it necessary to conceal my concerns. Asha appeared shocked and denied the accusations, but I was shaken and insisted that he come over so I could check his phone. We have always known each other's passwords, so I never felt the need to snoop. Prior to his immediate arrival and surrender of his phone, I did not discover any messages or calls between Asha and Jay's number. He could have easily deleted them, yet the memes I observed in Jay's photos were also present in Asha's camera roll. When I inquired about the photo with the woman, Asha stated that Jay was the spouse of a prospective client. Asha claimed that the husband took the photograph and expressed annoyance at the late arrival of the husband, who joined them only for dessert. Asha also found it peculiar that they requested a photograph with him during a business meeting. He was unable to provide an explanation for the voicemail and conceded that the evidence appeared incriminating. There are several aspects of this situation that remain unclear to me. Several weeks ago, prior to my communication with Jay Asha, he had informed me that he would be meeting with a couple who appeared interested in becoming his clients. He had discussed the 2 meetings in advance and expressed frustration on the first occasion when the husband arrived late and joined them for dessert. He stated that he felt uneasy sitting with another woman because he had only intended to go out with me. I did not attach any significance to this at the time. I reassured him that I trusted him and was proud of his hard work. Furthermore, on Monday night, he once again expressed frustration at the husband's absence from the scheduled lunch meeting. Despite admitting to the 2 meetings, he completely denied Jay's claims of 2 additional encounters. My family and I conducted a thorough examination of the evidence provided by Jay, as I was unable to accept its veracity. My father even stated that, prior to this incident, he would have been willing to wager significant sums of money on the veracity of the claims. My parents and I were convinced that Asha was the last person to have committed such an act. We sat with Asha as he attempted to reconcile the disparate elements of the situation. We were all eager for an alternative explanation. Asha informed us that the photograph was taken the previous Thursday. He stated that it was, in fact, Jay's husband who had captured the image of him and Jay, contrary to Jay's assertion. Asha claimed to have no recollection of the incident. However, he expressed his devotion to me and my family and asserted that he would never betray my trust. He was visibly distressed by the implication of infidelity. However, he was able to comprehend our skepticism. We were similarly incredulous. It was inconceivable to us that Asha could have been involved in such an act. Consequently, my family persistently urged him to challenge each piece of evidence individually. We even proposed that Jay's messages might be part of a scam. Asha maintained that he had only communicated with Jay in person and that both meetings had been arranged through texts with her husband. He denied sending Jay any memes but suggested that they might have been sent to her husband. He stated that the photo of them having dessert was taken by Jay's husband, who joined them. At the conclusion of the initial encounter, he asserted that he had never utilized Tinder prior to our meeting. He presented evidence indicating that he had never downloaded the application. However, the App Store records only showed installs, not reinstallation. He proposed that the use of his childhood nickname could be a coincidence or that he might have mentioned it casually. He also explained that the large dessert was ordered by Jay to share with her husband and he only ordered a small ice cream for himself. Despite the presence of compelling evidence, it was challenging to accept the information presented, given the unexpected nature of the circumstances. Consequently, my father sent the voicemail to a friend who is proficient in technology. This individual analyzed the recording and concluded that it was not altered. We then investigated the credibility of Jay. While there were some inconsistencies, they were not implausible. This morning, my father took the initiative of driving 4 hours to the restaurant to request the security footage. We were hopeful that it would corroborate the claim that Jay's husband had taken the photograph of Asha and Jay. The video from the restaurant showed Asha and Jay entering together and captured the presence of a waiter. The video footage from the restaurant showed Asha and Jay entering together and eating the dessert. Despite Asha's assertion that he had ordered a separate dessert, the husband who had been mentioned by Asha did not appear at the conclusion of the meeting. Instead, the video footage clearly demonstrated Asha and Jade exiting the restaurant together. The discrepancies in the accounts provided by Asha and Jade remain difficult to reconcile. I am struggling to comprehend the situation as it is so incongruous with Asha's character. He asserts that Jay was not a date that they met through work and that the two did not connect on Tinder. Instead, he claims that Jay simply forgot he had cancelled his ice cream order and shared the dessert that Jay had ordered. Asha admitted to lying about G's non-existent husband. The existence of a husband was denied by Asha, who stated that he felt pressured by my family. However, he asserted that he would never betray me. He emphasized his dislike of those who cheat and stated that he has always loved me and wants to spend his life with me. He expressed a desire to spend the rest of his life with me, emphasizing the fulfillment he derives from our closeness and his commitment to my happiness. I am aware that this may appear naive, but I do believe that he genuinely loves me. I urged him to confess so that we could address the issue together, but he maintained that he could not admit to something he was certain he had not done. I informed him that I still envisage a future with him. Despite my feelings of attachment to him, I find it challenging to trust him regarding the alleged business meetings. I am still unable to fully comprehend the reality of the situation and, to be honest, I am experiencing difficulty in fully accepting that it actually occurred. Part of me still holds on to the belief that it must be some sort of misunderstanding. Given the nature of the individual in question, it is implausible that such an act could be perpetrated by someone I know. I had complete trust in Asha, and the thought of living without him is unimaginable. He is not just my partner, he is also my best friend. Despite everything, I still see him. Given my long-standing familiarity with Asha, I find it particularly distressing to rely on him for emotional support in the wake of this painful experience. I conveyed to him the isolation I feel in relying on him for solace in this challenging situation. He acknowledged that he shares this sentiment and is similarly isolated. We have reached the conclusion that the relationship will continue for the time being. I have informed Asha that I am aware of his infidelity, but that I am choosing to give him the benefit of the doubt in light of the lack of concrete evidence. I have explained that individuals make mistakes, although he has expressed disagreement with this viewpoint. He argued that mistakes can be made in this context, but I believe that cheating is a deliberate act. Given our history, I am interested in rebuilding our relationship. I asked him if he would be open to an open relationship, but he was unequivocal in his response. He stated that if he had indeed cheated, he would have told me. He expressed hope that one day I would believe him. We agreed to postpone our wedding plans for a few weeks and focus on healing our relationship. I am not yet prepared to abandon the years of companionship we have shared. Part of me wishes that Jay had never informed me of the events in question, although I do appreciate his input. Her demonstration of solidarity is encouraging, and I sincerely hope she has a positive future because I was previously unaware of the situation. I would like to be able to elicit a confession from Asha, as his denial is perplexing. I would also appreciate having another source of the warm and comforting feelings I experience when I cuddle with Asha. His embrace has consistently instilled a profound sense of security. It would be my preference to either disregard the occurrence entirely or to receive an explanation as to why I am inadequate, or alternatively, why I am attractive, thin, intelligent, and socially adept. If it were possible to find love without having to start anew, I would be more at ease with the situation. I must develop a more comprehensive understanding of I often feel confused and overwhelmed in most situations, especially since I am not neurotypical. Asha used to be the one constant in my life before this happened. Most of all, I wish I could turn back time and ignore Jay's message, or that Asha never did this in the first place.